Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to talk about Kazarov. Now, Kazarov, I'll admit the very first thing I thought of when I saw this guy was Pestilence. He's a 4/4 for 7. Yeah, flying, vampire, of course. But the wording is very important here. Whenever a creature and opponent control is dealt damage. So he's like the super vampire. In years past, the creature had to die to get the +1/+1 counter. So just when they're dealt damage, he gets the counters. And then, of course, you've got this overpriced shock. So Pestilence was the first place I went with it. This is an unlimited version. They printed 1,000,000 of them. Black mana to deal 1 damage to all players and creatures. Now, Pestilence dies if there's no creature in play. But luckily, yes, our general's taking 1, but he's getting +1 counters for each creature that took damage. So it's absolutely beautiful. That was the first place my mind went to. Now, in Time Spiral block, Planar Chaos color shifted it, and if you'll notice, he has black, red color identity, so we can use both of them. And of course, in Rise of the Eldrazi, they put it on a big fat demon. It's the exact same thing. Now, the downside is 7 mana to get him out there. So I have quite a bit of, I'm just going to straight out call it ramp. Of course, we're going to start with a Soul Ring. My Soul Rings are getting few and far between, but I figured 7 mana general had to get him out. And totally getting low on the Soul Rings. I'm just going to power through a lot of these because it's Power Stone Shard, Mind Stone, good early, good late. Manalith is some fixing. The Border Post, Talisman, Clue Stone, Key Rune, and Signet. I have the Fire Diamond and the Charcoal Diamond and the Sisei's Ring. Now, also with that, I have got the complement of rituals. We have, of course, the Dark Ritual, the Cabal Ritual, and then we move into red and go up the chain with, of course, Rite of Flame, Desperate Ritual, and Seething Song. So I figure all of these cards are obviously good early to get your general out. They're not bad draws later. We do have some expensive things. Now, I do want to get Pyrohemia / Pestilence in play. Final Parting is, of course, the new uncommon tutor. You can pitch whatever in the yard. Diabolic Tutor. And I'm running Dimir Houseguard. I'm counting as a tutor because I'm probably never going to cast this guy. He's just going to go get one of the enchantments, Pyrohemia or Pestilence. I'll just call him Pestilence from now on. Card draw, Sign and Blood, Ambitious Cost, and Faithless Looting. Now, I'm peeling through some of the other stuff. Here, let me go ahead for spot removal. Doomblade, Terminate. I'm actually putting Lightning Bolt in there as a spot removal. We don't use Lightning Bolt a lot in our format, but with this guy, it's not terrible. I mean, it adds the line, put a +1/+1 counter on your commander. So that, like I said, not terrible. And so much so, I'm using the Bolt and the Incinerate. Of course, Tragic Slip, Terror, and Pillage. Pillage answers a lot of problems. It really does. The mass removal in Corrupts of Fate, Extinguish All Hope, and in Garrick's Wake. Now let's get to the fun stuff. Now, before we do this, I do want to read him again. Whenever a creature an opponent is controlled is dealt damage. That's the beautiful part here. Because caltrops. Any creature, whenever the creature attacks, it's dealt the damage, and my guy gets a counter. So not only does this really work good against the weenie decks, you know, elves and goblins and 1/1s and whatnot, it's just going to make our dude huge. Now, with when Pyrohemia was the big thing, Deep Slumber Titan was, yeah, this may not be awesome, but it kind of warms my heart, so I'm going to play it. It's a 4-mana 7/7. Yeah, he's going to draw some hate, but that's the point. It's one less removal spell they've got for your general, but he's good early, and once you Pestilence or Pyrohemia once, he just untaps. I love it. Ghostly Flame is going to deal with all those. Well, y'all saw the last deck, all those knights that all, really don't care for black or red. But this way, everything we got is colorless. So, now, Gorgon's Head, it is, it does work a couple of, I mean, we don't have a whole lot of creatures, obviously. The Gorgon's Head, we can put it on our general, and that's preferable, but then we're kind of committing to that 4-mana shock ability, which is fine, because it's 4-mana kill target creature at that point. If we put it on Pestilence Demon, it gets a little tricky, because it's going to kill our general. So, but to protect our general, we've got the Whispersilk Cloak, and of course the Swiftfoot Boots. Now, Crypt Rats kind of does the same thing. Crypt Rats is absolutely positively going to kill itself. I mean, it's just that's just the way it works. But with Crypt Rats, it's also, each creature, each player. So we're going to get the whole, it's like another one-shot use of Pestilence. Now, Crypt Rats gets real fun with a Vampiric Link. It takes a lot for me to run creature enchantments, y'all know that, but that's a ton of life. A ton of life. And, I mean, even if you're putting this on the demon, that's fine. Now, another creature we can put it on, Olivia, is mana for damage, and she is way more controller than that, because, she can steal stuff. And the beautiful part about it is, vampires are, more popular than ever. Every vampire card that they make makes the tribe better and makes people want to play them more. So Olivia has an easier time stealing things now. Now, Death Pits of Wrath can kind of seem like a non-bo, but, here again, the idea is to Pestilence away and kill everything and make our general big. Here again, this is I'm going to call this a solid plan B, because if they get rid of your Pestilence or Pyrohemia or whatnot, this is essentially another version of the Gorgon's Head. You put this out there, you spend the 4 mana, you shoot somebody or something for 2, and it dies. So, or in the chance that you just are, on the ropes and you're not drawing anything, Death Pits of Wrath and Caltrops is pretty sweet together as well. I am running a random Pyroblast, because that Rift is just, it's terrible for us. So we're going to mound up a ton of counters. They're going to rift it back to my hand, and I got to start all over. Now, the rest of the deck is what I like to call pyroclasm effects. Damage to each creature. Typically, we don't really use these a lot, especially the little ones. Pyroclasm doesn't see a lot of play in EDH because, you got to be able to kill a big dude. But here, yeah, I don't care if it kills it or not. It's just going to add some counters to my dude. And we're going to swing in. And obviously, the point here is to general damage win somebody. Chain reaction is, of course, the big version of it. It can, here again, we got to be careful when we cast this because it could kill our general. Bloodfire Dwarf comes down early and clears a path as well. He kills a lot of the little things. The Shivan Hellkite, I'm actually, to be honest with you, I'm on the fence about. I figure once I play this, I'll probably take this and play it this week. Shivan Hellkite may come out. It's another 7 mana. I mean, yeah, it's 5/5 flyer. We don't have a whole lot of air presence, but that 2 mana to deal 1 damage, it's a colon ability, so it's repeatable. That is what sold me on the Shivan Hellkite. Because apparently all my creatures are going to cost 7. Another 7 mana 5/5. This guy, I actually like a little less than the dragon because it only does it when it comes into play. Now it does do 2, so he may find the wayside for a better card as well. Circle of Flame. Hey, I mean, all these cards where just damage automatically happens when they attack, or here is beautiful. It just attacks you. If it attacks you, it takes the damage. And are they really going to want to chance that? I don't know. Incendiary Command. I love when they reprint these that they use the bullet points because that just looks like a paragraph of text that, we don't even want to read it. But damage. Sickening Dreams in a non-combo way. We're just going to, ditch a few cards, even if we just need to ditch 1 land. And, if we need those last few counters to get him up to that 21, that'll work. Tremor, same thing. This is, would you spend one mana, 1 red mana on a sorcery that gave 5+1/+1 counters to your general? I think 5 is being modest. I mean, Tremor's going to add a lot more than that. Cone of Flame, 1, 2, 3. Volcanic Fallout is another one. Can't be countered, but apparently that's worth 1 red on a Pyroclasm, and it hits each player, so little bites. Then we got the Cannonade, non-pirates, so maybe we can make friends with a pirate player. Chandra's Fury. I love that 4 to the dome. Oh, and all your stuff takes 1. I get a ton of counters. Let's rock. Now, Magma Quake is pretty much an instant earthquake, only a little better because it hits walkers. Let's talk about Fire Covenant. I love this card. I have played it since I opened it from Ice Age packs. Man, where X is the amount of life you pay, and you can divide it any way you want to. So if there's 10 creatures and you want to deal 1 to all of them, and you can just pay 10, and bam, they all take 1. Your general's getting 10. I mean, I love the fact that you don't have to pay mana equal to the life that you paid. I mean, all this is going to cost you is 3 mana and some life. And heck, if we got off our Crypt Rat Link thing, life is not a problem. Life is good. Now, my last card is Wildfire. Now, I've got this in there for a couple reasons. 1, it deals 4 damage to each creature. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. And each player sacks 4 lands. We have a ton of mana rocks in here. So Wildfire does bring some hate. It does bring some enemies. However, not being a dedicated Wildfire deck makes it to where they're just not prepared for it. And it does. I mean, late game, maybe not so good. Early game, Wildfire is amazing if you can ramp out the general first and then Wildfire. Oh my gosh. You just your general gained all these +1/+1 counters. Probably a lot of things died, and they don't have as many resources to deal with your giant beater that just has to count to 21. Well, that's what I've got for Kazarov. I was really excited about this guy. Glad to get him built. Cannot actually wait to play him. Now got to show the Rogue's Passage. Any deck that I'm going to commit to a general damage win, you've got to have the Rogue's Passage. Of course, y'all know me. I'm putting the Rogue's Passage in everything. I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. How'd y'all build, Car? My mind just went to Pestilence first, and I wanted to abuse that card because I've always loved Pestilence or Pyrohemia. Let me know what you think. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.